Hello, this is Isaiah from the future. I'm just hopping in real fast before the episode gets started just to give you some context as to what this is, because it's very different to what I've done before. So this episode I am featuring one of my best friends. His name is Dane Johnson. And we decided that in order to make the episode fun, we would drink through it. And we got very drunk. And so we got very loud and very stupid. But I'm going to post this anyway, because I think it's funny. And if you don't think it's funny, I don't care. There are other podcasts for you to listen to, but this is mine. So if you stick around, I thank you for that. Also, I just want to also say that from this point on, I believe that I will be breaking Odd Hour into separate seasons with about 7 episodes each. So this will be the 7th episode posted for Odd Hour. That way I can make things a little bit more manageable. I can pre-record now that I know how much effort it will take for me to make episodes for this podcast, because it requires quite a bit. And I want to make sure that it's manageable but also still being published, because I don't want to just give up on this project because it's too hard. But now that I am graduated, woohoo, I have a little bit more time throughout the summer in order to prepare for that. So I think what I'll do is for each new season, there will be some new cover art, then some new narration music. I'll probably keep the general theme music as part of a carryover, but expect something a little different each time around. I think it might be fun. I hope you guys stick around for that. But without further ado, I will go into this episode of Odd Hour.
This is Odd Hour, we're drunk, and we're talking about Tunguska.
You didn't have to open it with we're drunk.
Well, I want the episode title to be The Drunk One.
The Drunk One, dudes, featuring
Dudes Rock
First episode of the Dudes Rock podcast. Because Dudes Rock.
Dudes Rock, bro. Cheers over the microphone. I hope that picks up.
Ooh.
It's like
Alright.
large fucking sound.
Lead me into this Tunguska fan. Because
Because
I have done some research.
I mean,
Sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
sponsored by Me Undies. At this moment, what if this was like recorded visually and I just like stood up and like,
Just like, yeah.
you look at these Me Undies, look at my undies.
Sponsored by.
I don't put any sponsors on this because I don't want people to get annoyed by me faster than they are.
Sponsored. Well, no, because we don't. Wait, is it illegal to say we're sponsored by something, but we're not? In Minecraft.
I mean, they ain't giving me any fucking money anyway.
In Minecraft, we are sponsored by.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, you never heard about that?
No.
No, it's like streamers do this where they're like, they'll be like during the Trump election, you'd have people who'd be like, I'm gonna kill the president in Minecraft, right? So like you don't.
This is a political one today.
It's like. So it's like, oh, you don't get in trouble because you said you're gonna do it in Minecraft. You're not actually gonna do it.
Real world ain't Minecraft.
Yeah, it's like
That's fucking stupid.
tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'm gonna kill the president in Minecraft.
JFK assassination in Minecraft.
They couldn't.
It's a fucking
They couldn't arrest Harvey Lee.
It's a fucking minecart.
They couldn't arrest Harvey Lee Oswald because
Harvey Lee Oswald.
that's his name.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee.
You're cut off immediately.
All right.
This is Odd Hour. I bet this sounds different than usual. I'm still gonna have the opening music over this, so it's just gonna be
the Stranger Things ass music. What? Nope.
Yo,
I'm not gonna
it's
get copyrighted.
uncopyrighted.
Oh, is it actually?
Oh yeah, because I get all my music from the fucking YouTube library.
Word.
So I'm not copyrighted. Like that's where I get my my YouTube music, like for videos. Yeah, all from the YouTube library. This episode is sponsored by YouTube.
Bro, I wanted to talk about Dark Place, but let's talk about
the fuck is Dark Place?
We'll talk about Dark Place.
Okay.
We'll talk about Dark Place. Bonus episode, Patreon episode, patreon.com/
Isaiah Ephraim. I don't even know how to pronounce my own fucking name.
Patreon. You'll see it.
It'll be in the description.
That's the Dark Place episode. We're talking about Dark Place later.
What is it?
We'll talk about that later.
Give me like a sneak peek.
Well, alright.
Is it a video game, a book series?
It's a TV show. It's a TV show. I was gonna dox our friend from work. It's a TV show that is basically a parody of Stephen King's like of a Stephen King.
Gortharengis!
Yes, that's exactly what it is. We're gonna talk about
You
that.
gotta like say the full fucking name of that shit. 'Cause
Okay.
He literally showed me episodes of that, and
Bro,
I was like, "What the fuck is?"
I'm thinking about
Dark
going
Blade?
as the black dude.
Oh my god, Richard Ayoade's
Richard
character.
Ayoade's
I'll
character.
dress up as like the dude who's always in the trench coat.
So this is an audio podcast. I did
Welcome to our first episode
I
of
did
the
the
Dark
karate.
Place.
I did the karate hands. Tunguska fan. Hit me.
Well, one, we're outside. Two, we're drinking. Three,
No, we're not.
we're drinking water because we're
Healthy
children.
boys and dudes rock and we stay healthy.
Dudes rock.
Hydro homies.
Hydro homosexual.
Continue?
So Tunguska. Y'all ever heard of
You
Tunguska?
didn't intro me.
This is Dane.
Yep. Can I plug some shit?
Yes.
I can?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Oh, wait, hang on. This is my bro Dane. I love him. He's my best friend. He's my bro.
Hell yeah. Bang.
We just clapped hands.
Clapped hands.
Clapped hands, clapped cheeks. Whatever.
We did not do that.
Go off. Go off on your stuff, Dane.
Pretty soon having a podcast called D&D with the Boys.
Hell fucking yeah.
Have Mr. Ephraim Winslow on there. Next one shot we do. And I'm writing a book. Think about putting chapters on Patreon.
Hell yeah. Definitely make your Patreon. I'll design it for you.
Please do. I have no idea how to do that stuff.
Oh my
I'm
god.
a boomer when it comes to that.
Use Pixlr editor online.
Hmm.
That's how I make all my logos.
Okay. Finally, Tunguska event. You said you were going to lead this conversation, so lead the conversation.
I mean, yeah, and then I got drunk, so...
All right.
on
continue.
water.
Start.
Alright, we're gonna be talking about some weird shit. So have you ever heard of a comet smashing into the fucking earth and flattening 40 acres of a forest?
I have not.
Okay, well that's what we're gonna talk about. So this happens we're in Siberia. It's in Russia. It's in like 1908, and there are photographs of this, by the way. This
I took notes on my phone, so in case,
good. Great. I'll put everything in the description too. I'll have to actually transcribe this one.
Hell yeah.
Because usually I make the script and then I just read it.
Dude, you're making this shit accessible for people who can't listen to it. That's awesome.
Look, I got blind friends.
Yeah, bro. You mean deaf? Transcription. Blind people can hear this. It's the deaf people that can't hear this. They're the ones that need to see it.
I also got blind friends, but I meant for the deaf community.
Tunguska event, go. I hate that I'm the straight man in this situation.
You are the only straight man here.
That's fair.
Kind of.
That's
I'll
fair.
cut that out if you don't want me to.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So, Siberia, Mother Russia.
1908, biggest shit.
That's my. The year is 1908. We're less than a decade into the turn of the century. They don't have TVs, but they have video cameras, and they got
the voice. We're less than a decade into the century.
I thought that was the 40s, like a John Mulaney,
Fuck
40s
it.
announcer.
Fuck it.
Well, they got that too. They got
guess what?
gramophones.
Nobody in 1908 is alive to get offended by it. So
I feel like there's still people alive from 1908.
1908.
Yeah.
That's somebody from 1908 is probably like 112 years old, does not know what a podcast is. 1908 crater.
Yes, it's June 30th, 1908. Oh, I have Russian words. It's really cold, despite it being June, because it's fucking Russia. Alright, I'm gonna have to... In Podkamenaya Tunguska River.
In the PogChamp River.
Yes, in the Poggers River in Siberia, Russia.
Wow, King, that sex was really poggers. Can we get back to
Yo,
talking
we
about
love
the Skyrim?
Fortnite here.
No, have you seen that? It was like, hey, King, that sex was really poggers. Can we get back to talking about the Skyrim lore now? It's like the Scottish chick. Wow, King, that sex was really poggers. Anyway, continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's go for round 2.
No,
Let's
this
hit
dude
the
was like,
leaderboard.
so basically, there's a #1 Welcome to the Dudes
Is that a
Rock Podcast.
copyrighted song? What if that fucking song is copyrighted? Fucking UMG.
What, the Victory Royale song? 1908, Russia. We have not gotten past 1908 Russia
Look,
crater.
I wanted this to be chaotic. It's
That's fine,
fine.
that's fine, that's fine.
It's fine. You can yell at me. I
No.
can yell at you.
It's fine.
Wow, King, that sex was really poggers. But can we get back to explaining the entirety of the Skyrim lore now?
My
What?
ideal woman. Wow, King, that sex was really poggers.
I hated everyone. Let me just show you off podcast. Have you ever seen The Girl Who's Afraid of Minions?
No.
So, we're in Siberia. I know I've said this already. We're at a river, and the river is called Tunguska, so that's why it's called the Tunguska event. It's named after the place. Everything is really quiet. It's in the middle of the forest. It's like, I don't know if you know what it's called. It's called the Tyra. And it's like a certain... Are you Googling it? I can tell you
No.
what...
No.
It's not Tyra. Tyga. T-A-I-G-A.
The rapper? Rack City
T-A-I-G-A,
bitch. Rack City bitch. Continue. I'm sorry. Good rock.
So Siberia in Russia, 1908. So we're in the Tunguska River Valley area, which is why it's called Tunguska. Everything is really quiet. It's in the middle of a forest. It's like a really big area, and it's very, very isolated. It's around 7 o'clock in the morning. There are eyewitnesses to the scene. There are like written accounts as to what this event like was, how it was actually perceived. Like this isn't.
Can I bring up the confirmed kills thing again?
Not yet. But yeah, eyewitnesses to the bizarre scene would later report that there was a fireball in the sky. It was traveling like across the sky.
Bam.
Yes, like southeast to whatever is the opposite of southeast.
Southeast, northwest.
Northwest? I think so. It didn't give me like where it ended up. I mean, it ended up in the fucking earth. It started from the southeast.
Up in your mom. Hey. To the audience's mom, not your mom.
So the fireball emitted a blue light as it soared through the sky.
Avengers type shit.
Yes, and it was described as being like as bright as the sun.
Uh-huh.
So I don't exactly know if it was like a flash at that moment, because I know that there's a flash later on, because it sends out a shockwave.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's like when you look at the sun and that's how bright it is, or if it was like, you remember that meteor in Russia that was caught on the dash cams?
I was gonna bring that up. There's a similar, because I think that the one that you were talking about was a little bit more recent. There was a very one that was extremely similar to the Tunguska event that happened in, I believe, 2013.
2013. Was it also in Russia?
It was also in Russia.
Why do they get all the comments?
I don't know.
Or whatever this was.
Because it was special. And it blew out like a ton of windows and stuff
I think that's the same one I'm talking about.
Is it the same one you're talking about?
Yeah, because are you thinking of the video that's like the dash cam where you see it going from left to right?
How old was I in 2013?
Probably 14.
Because in 2013 I was 15.
Yeah.
So it might have been the same event. I might be misremembering things, but like it is a very similar kind of event, and I found that kind of interesting. Yeah,
because like that's what I'm picturing when I think of like the actual fireball event is like that really bright light going across, and then it explodes in a flash, and then it starts to collapse.
Yes, sir.
So that's what eyewitnesses seem to be reporting. But it was 10 minutes after the fireball that the effects were actually felt. So it had like the flash and then a sound that was described as being similar to like thunderclaps or like artillery fire. So it had to be pretty loud. And it wasn't like just one thunderclap, it was multiple, because if this was an asteroid or a meteorite or a comet, whatever it was, it would be breaking up in the atmosphere at this point. So it'd be making a lot of noise.
Yes.
At that point, a shockwave was erupted from this epicenter point. I don't really know if blast is the correct term, as we'll come on to see, because blast kind of implies an impact thing, which is like what makes Tunguska weird.
What's interesting is that I think it technically would count as a blast because it actually happened. There are a few books. They don't really have too much scientific relevancy, just because there isn't too much evidence for the Tunguska event. But there are some people who think that the explosion was similar to an H-bomb.
I actually I found research about that, actually. It comes up in this thing. It was saying that the subsequent blast and shockwave is said to have, and I have the direct quote from this source, it was the energy equivalent of about 10 to 15 megatons of TNT.
APA source. We're coming to you with the facts.
Yes.
Facts with the X.
But here is the insane part of this.
Okay.
That is about 1,000 times more powerful than the blast of Hiroshima.
Jesus. I wanted to bring... Well, speaking of Japan...
Uh-oh.
No. We respect Japan, dudes rock. I wanted to bring up... This is just from a Weave's point of view, but...
Oh.
Well, no. Shh.
Did you just fuck your sister?
Yeah, I did, and it's not misogynistic. So
it's not because I'm a man.
Because you're a man, exactly. Anyway, the blast reminded me a lot of so a lot of Japanese media, especially after the Hiroshima thing, have kind of events in their sci-fi stuff like Godzilla and shit like that.
Like radioactive types of monsters.
Radioactive stuff and stuff that surrounds itself around huge explosions over the sky because of obvious events. And so this reminded me a lot of the movie Akira.
I only know a little bit about it, but you go off
in the beginning of that movie, it's this giant, it almost appears on top of the city of, I believe it was Tokyo. It's been a minute since I've seen the movie. But it spreads around that area, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Because,
like, the kind of area that would be where the Tunguska event would have hit if it left a crater is kind of similar to that. Spoiler alert. Also, a comic that I read, a Marvel comic that I read in, like, middle school-ish, I didn't really get the relevance of it because I was like 12, 13.
Yeah, you're a baby boy.
A little tiny boy. A young boy. A small boy.
A tyke.
A tyke, if you will. But in this Marvel comic, they actually reference like a lot of Russian super soldier experiments in that comic are in Tunguska.
That's interesting.
Which is kind of interesting. And so, like, when I was on the Wikipedia page for it, you can use Wikipedia. Don't listen to your professors.
You don't quote directly from Wikipedia.
But, like, use it.
Yes. I don't know if you know about this, but if you go to the bottom of the page, there's a works cited section.
Yeah.
Just click open that shit and you're fine.
Wikipedia, like, professors can suck a dick when it comes to Wikipedia. I'm trying to get into grad school, so professors do not need to suck a dick. But anyway, I was looking at a lot of, like, the Tunguska event is so broad that there's a ton of different things in pop culture that has used that event. Like, it's been used in music videos, especially for DC and Marvel comics. They use the Tunguska event to explain, like, things, like, 4 or 5 separate times each.
Oh, that's original.
Yeah. Whatever.
And that makes me feel like really weird because, like, you mentioned like Japan and like the Japanese with like the Hiroshima bomb and everything. I don't know if like any Russian media, like off the top of my head, that uses Tunguska as an inspiration point. I mean, I don't know enough about Russia and their like types of media because I can't like read that kind of stuff.
Can I bring up something else, which is kind of interesting?
Yes.
I think they might be like. This is getting to conspiracy theory-esque stuff.
No, that's the whole point of this podcast.
I know. X-Files shit. That's
Twilight. No, that's Twilight Zone.
Stranger Things and Twilight Zone are similar.
And Twilight.
Twilight. You said Twilight, so... well, what I think the reason is that, Russia's very, like, strict on a lot of their media type shit. And
you think maybe they're hiding stuff?
I genuinely do, because there is a pilot, I believe he's a pilot for the Navy.
Do you have his name at all?
Yes, I do.
Is it Fred Valentine?
No, it's not. It is Chad Underwood. Super, like...
What a Chad! What a very Chad name.
Very, like, Tom Clancy-ass.
He's riding the waves.
It's me, Chad Underwood.
What's the fucking surfer, like, accent? Like, oh yeah, bro. Me and Chad Underwood. Wait, that's Australian.
That's mid... you started in, like, Midwest. Like, oh yeah, like Fargo, and then with Australian.
How about this surfer accent? Oh yeah, bro. Me and Chad Underwood are gonna be surfing in the Pacific.
Stop. That's cringe.
Okay, Noel Miller.
We do have a very Cody and Noel type of vibe. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the white man.
Shut the fuck
Chad
up.
Underwood is I believe he is a pilot for the Navy. He was like one of those like special Navy SEALs type pilots.
Yeah.
And he like just one day didn't give a shit and was like, oh yeah, like there's some like crafts that we have that definitely weren't made on Earth.
That's weird.
That's weird, right? So I was thinking, like, all right. So when it comes to woodpecker,
why did I say?
You were gonna say hummingbird, and I was gonna stop you. You should have admitted to it.
Let me stop you right there.
Foolish.
Have a seat.
let us specify, neither of us would be on any show or associated with the legend Chris Hansen.
This episode is sponsored by To Catch a Predator.
Anyway, so it takes a while. It would take a while for, like, if there were aliens outside of our solar system to get to ours. So I was thinking about that, right? And I was thinking about how...
Do you think spacecrafts go in light years, or do they have their own measurements?
I was thinking that they might go... If they went into light years, right? I was thinking about how, even if we were somehow able to send a message to space, it would take the amount of time... Like, the amount of time it would take for a civilized species to get to us... We, as a species, would probably forget about that in that time.
Oh, because it takes so long. So it's like not even like generations; it's like multiple centuries.
Yes, and so I think what could have been with the Tunguska event is basically a spacecraft, like part of spacecraft that kind of fell off, reached orbit, and kind of just blasted right before it landed.
So you were like under. Maybe you're just, like, spouting a theory. I don't know if you actually believe it. Like, are you saying that, like, the Tunguska, like, the actual blast event was, like, an alien spacecraft? Or that's just, like, one conspiracy theory that you found?
It's more of a conspiracy theory that I pieced together from, like, other stuff that I've heard about. Because, like, I genuinely do believe in aliens.
Oh, yeah, me too. I don't know if necessarily this event was alien. Especially after researching a little further.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll mention stuff that I found earlier, later on, too.
I just thought it was, like, a neat idea of kind of this sort of, like, it might have been that, or it might have been, like, just basically carry off from something that reached over us. And that might be why Russia hasn't really brought it up in their own media.
I mean, I don't want to say it's impossible, because we know for a fact that, like, the CIA hides a lot of stuff related to their actions. Just, I mean... They're covert. Like, that's the whole point of them. This episode is sponsored by the CIA.
No, it's not. No, it is not. The sponsor is...
Sorry that that's my running joke for this episode.
Is sponsored by Fuck the CIA.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by Fuck the U.S. government.
As we hear two, like, gunshots, it's like the final episode of Odd Hour.
It's like, you hear, like, sniper bullets and you hear us crashing on the concrete.
The final episode of Odd Hour. Sponsored by the CIA.
Yo, what if I brought, like, D.B. Cooper onto the podcast? Can you fucking...
See, I would get that joke, but I don't know who D.B. Cooper is.
Oh, he's the one who, like... BuzzFeed did an episode on him. He's the one who, like, he was on an airplane, and then he wrote, like a message to one of the flight attendants and was like, hey, I got a bomb. Like, tell the pilots, like, this is going down. But she pocketed it, and then, like, straight up, she was like, okay, thanks. That's a reference to Shane Madej. That's not my joke. He said it that way. APA credit right there.
This podcast is sponsored by Ted Kaczynski.
No, he's not. but like D.B. Cooper's the one who, like, he stole all the money and then jumped out of the airplane, and then we don't know where he is. Like, we don't know if he survived or if he got away with it. Look him up. So the explosion itself is considered to be the most explosive meteor impact, like, on record. Like, I mean, I think the one that killed the dinosaurs is, like, the one that's bigger, but this one is, like, really, really notable and, like, right in human history, especially since we have pictures of, like, the event afterward. Like, there are pictures of this forest just downed.
Yeah.
And the blast, and it is considered an impact event, even though, spoiler alert, there's no fucking crater left over. It was likely caused by an airburst as it entered the atmosphere rather than the actual thing hitting the ground. And it flattened nearly 80 million trees in the Siberian wilderness. Do you remember how I said that it downed 40 square miles at the beginning?
Yes.
I lied. It was actually 830 square miles.
You were off.
By a lot.
By a lot.
To be fair, I wrote 40 as a joke, because I knew that 830 was the actual answer.
That's a very good,
it's not a good joke.
That's a good save, is what it is.
It's not a save, that's what I planned. Fuck off.
Dude's
rock. For a so happy. I'm so happy if it doesn't.
This is definitely an odd hour.
We're over an hour at this point. It's 5:30.
Gang, gang, gang.
Alright, I was about to go into like the unreported, the unconfirmed deaths.
Go ahead.
I will let you take it over though, because you had that info.
Yes.
I want you to take that over.
There were no confirmed deaths in the Tunguska event, but there were 3 kind of miscellaneous kind of...
They were
nobody knows what happened to them.
unconfirmed.
They were unconfirmed.
Yeah, because like all of the sources that I was saying was that they were unconfirmed. Because the Wikipedia page that I was like referencing for like the base information.
It's okay to reference Wikipedia.
It's fine. Teachers, suck my dick. You can use Wikipedia. Okay, so we spoiled this already. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this, so maybe I tried to save the spoiler beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fucking impact crater!
Bro, you cuss in front of your parents, you're definitely a white kid.
I do cuss in front of my parents. Mostly my mom.
You're definitely a white kid. Wouldn't be caught dead.
You don't cuss in front of your parents at all?
I cuss in front of my mom, but my mom's not black.
So, no impact crater. That's fucking weird.
Wow.
I don't... Wow.
Wow. There he is!
Instead of that's pretty good, that's pretty weird.
That's it. We are in an odd hour.
It's like I play the music right here. We took a brief intermission and ate steak from my father.
Hungry. Hungry.
Hungry.
Num num times.
I'm gonna vomit on you. I hate that word so much. I can't believe.
I didn't say nummies. I said nummies.
What is nummies?
Like num num. Like num num.
Oh.
Rub my belly.
Because I spell it N-O-M, not N-U-M.
I spell it N-U-M.
Well, you're a fucking abomination.
Is that because I'm black?
No! It's not!
Confirmed. He's not an ally.
I am an ally.
He said black lives don't matter today, bitch.
Shut up! I will get canceled! Why am I blocking this as if it's not a multi-directional?
At him on at hating.
No! No! I'm
Saying-
cutting it out. I'm cutting it out. Fuck
Tell
you.
him he's
Fuck
not an
you.
ally.
However, if you are Brian Quinn, please follow me at Hey Nancy Boy and I will pick you.
Who's that?
Brian Quinn is cute from Impractical Joker. So I kind of described the event. Kind of. Very, kind of is the subjective term here. Because we've been... You talked about anime for a while.
Yeah. That's good. Anime's good.
I talked about something. What was I talking about?
Just, like, why you
Stupid
don't
shit.
believe it's, like, aliens and shit.
Right, because you were talking about that conspiracy theory.
Mhm.
I wanted to give some of the eyewitness quotes that Wikipedia gave me. Again, suck my dick, teachers. So one of the... I have,
I
like...
appreciate a white man telling me.
Shut. Fuck off. I have some of, like, the eyewitness quotes that I found that, like, actually describe the impact event. And one said, quote, the sky... No. Quote, the split in the sky grew larger and the entire northern side was covered with fire. At that moment, I became so hot I couldn't bear it, as if my shirt was on fire.
Okay.
Which is insane. Like, I don't even know, like, how that would actually feel if I was there. I mean, it'd probably feel like your shirt was on fire.
Described exactly how it feels.
But, like, I can't think of that for myself. Like, I've never been through something like that.
It's a weird way to describe something where it's like, it doesn't feel like I was on fire, it's like my shirt. That's weird. But it's cool.
I'm sure his skin felt like it was on fire, but he focused it on the shirt. I can't even imagine, like, anything like that happening.
It's also in that last kind of era where you don't have enough science to explain what's going on, so you just think it's a god sending you a message. So that must have been also really scary, like being this devout, like...
Oh yeah, I bet he was like a farmer beforehand, and then he was like a Baptist preacher afterwards.
And you're like, what was that? You know?
That was a sign from God.
This podcast sponsored by the Catholic Church.
this podcast is sponsored by God.
This is God's podcast.
God boys.
God boys.
God rocks.
God rocks. Yo. Patreon.com/series where we talk about Christian evangelical movies called God Rocks.
We start with that Christian Mingle movie.
I was thinking of God's Not Dead. Because Kevin Sorbo can eat my dick.
I don't know who that is.
He's the asshole who's like the main guy behind it, but he's super like chunky.
Is he an actor in it or just like
He's
the
an
director? Is he like the main dude in
He's
it?
the main preacher guy.
Fuck him. Because I know that kid's face. And he's in like a striped shirt.
Yeah, he's like
Fuck him.
stereotypical Disney white boy.
Another eyewitness account said that, quote, after that, such a noise came... What? I'm assuming after, like, the airburst and shockwave. A noise came as if rocks were falling or cannons were firing, the earth shook. So that kind of goes back to, like, the thunderclaps and the artillery fire. There's another quote that says, the earth began to move and rock, the wind hit our hut and knocked it over, my body was pushed down by sticks, but my head was in the clear. Then I saw a wonder, trees were falling, the branches were on fire, it became mighty bright. So a lot of these quotes are focusing in on like that light that came from the initial part of it being in the sky. And then a last thing that I found was the sky was cloudless, only a small dark cloud was observed in the direction of the bright body. It was hot and dry. So I don't really know how that can happen. I don't know the scientifics behind it. But I was also finding a lot of sources that said that the sky was like really gray and cloudy for a couple days after.
I saw that too.
So I'm assuming that whatever debris it left behind kind of like clogged up the atmosphere for at least a few days at least. I did find that the shockwave of the event, in terms of like how far it was, like how far the effects were felt, it was felt, I don't know like the exact kilometers, but it said it could be felt as far away as England.
Whoa, I didn't read that. That's nuts.
Yeah, there's several countries in between.
No, it's just Russia, then England. You didn't know
yeah,
that?
definitely. There's no Poland. I don't know if you found anything in your research. Even though there was no, like, impact crater, they were finding pieces of stuff, like, at least 40 kilometers outward. I don't know how many miles that is. It's probably closer to, like, 45 miles out from the epicenter. It said that they found things like potassium, titanium, and zirconium. I think they might have found iron, or they found like a distinct lack of iron, which is in like a lot of like
asteroids.
Not asteroids. I think just like ground type of stuff. So I don't know if they were thinking that iron was absorbed away in the shock, or if this meteorite didn't have any iron, which would be weird because iron is like in a lot of things. I don't know exactly, but they were saying that something about the iron was weird, and I can't remember exactly what it was.
Okay.
And they also don't know if it was an asteroid or a meteor.
I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, part of it I think is probably due to the time that it happened. It was in 1908, so it's been like over like a century. But I also don't know what makes something an asteroid, what makes something a meteor. So I don't know like what differentiates those. But the main gist is that it definitely came from space, but they also don't.
I'm going to the one place with no capitalism.
Yeah.
Space.
Well, I mean, it is in Russia. Some of the other stuff that I found, whatever this was, whether it was an asteroid, a meteor, a comet, whatever it was traveling at least 33 miles per hour. No, 33,000 miles per hour. So super duper fast. Guess how many pounds it was?
Tell me, because I forgot.
It was 220 million pounds.
So it could have killed us.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was burning at about 44,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
So it definitely could have killed us.
Yes. What modern scientists think happened is that the majority of whatever this thing was
burned up in the atmosphere.
Yes, it burned up. So because there was no impact, it means that it burned up so completely that by the time it hit the Earth, there was nothing left of it.
Gotcha.
Which would make sense, especially if there was a flash.
Yeah.
Because that means that it hit its peak in the sky and then disintegrated. But it's still weird that something that fast and it leveled like so many acres of like the Siberian forest didn't leave anything on the ground.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, I mean, I don't know where the Grand Canyon is. For some reason, my mind is going that, like, the Grand Canyon is the crater left by the thing that killed the dinosaurs.
That's not a bad theory.
It's probably wrong. I know when we were saying it was burning at, like, 44,500 degrees. It also traveled, like, I don't know, vertically, like 28,000 feet, which is way above, like, skydiving. I don't know if you would be able to see, like, the curvature of the Earth.
What do you mean?
This podcast
What do you mean the curvature of the Earth?
This podcast is sponsored by Flat Earth.
What do you mean the curvature of the Earth? The Earth's not curved. I'm trying to say the Earth's curved.
This podcast is sponsored by Globe Earth.
The Earth's not curved.
I don't know how to tell you this, man. We're going skydiving next week and you're going to see the curve of the Earth.
No, I'm not. Oh, boy.
I've drank too much.
This is a mess.
So when the meteorite fell, this is a quote, strong tremors in the ground were observed, and near the Lovat village of Kansk-Uzed, two strong explosions...
You have to do the Russian accent. Kansk-Uzed.
Kansk-Uzed were heard. Two strong explosions were heard at Kansk-Uzed.
Kansk-Uzed.
As if from large caliber artillery.
Artillery.
So because of, like, where it was in the Siberian forest, they couldn't get to it because it was really remote, and also because in terms of, like, Russia, they were going through a lot.
It's in Siberia too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
So, but also politically, Russia was going through a lot. Like, they were leading up to the revolution.
Oh, were they?
Yes. They're always going through something. But they were leading up to the revolution, so due to, like, the actual placement of where the comet, or whatever this thing hit, and because of the political atmosphere, they couldn't get to it for a while. Guess how long it took for them to get there?
I think it was like the 30s, right?
It took them, like, over fucking 12 years to get to the fucking epicenter of this fucking event. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it was a while, right?
It took, like, 12 fucking years.
Like, just from the start of the expedition to the end.
Yes.
That's, like, hot. That's, like Lord of the Rings type shit.
That's fucking hot.
It's hot.
Ew, it's fucking hot. No, it
really
was...
had those dope mustaches, too, that curled.
Researchers were left with, like, nothing. There was no impact event because the comet broke up. It took them 12 years to get there, and it took them a while to get out to, like, the 40 kilometers to find, like, other evidence of it. So they had, like, nothing to collect. But, like, this whole event is, like, one of the biggest mysteries on Earth, or, like, in history, because of that fact that there was no impact event. Like, that's... I get their explanation of it burning up in the atmosphere, but it was going so fast, it burned so hot, it was so fucking big. You would think that there was something in the ground.
It's crazy that it was so hot that it didn't touch the ground and people still felt the heat.
Like, they were wanting to rip their clothes off because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. I don't understand how that doesn't leave
and it
something.
could have killed 3 people. Like, that's how hot it was. Could've.
Yeah. Like, that... I don't know. That's weird. So another quote that I found that's not eyewitness testimony is something that was, like... I don't know. It says, so for now, the best chance for scientists to track the event...
You got it.
I don't.
Sound it out.
Shut up. I'm going to start over. So for now, the best chance for scientists to track the effects of a meteor remains the remote and swampy region of what is now... Oh, fuck. Krasnoyarsk region of Russia.
Krasnoyarsk.
Pretty much there's nothing left for them to look for. So the fact that there was just no impact event just feels fucking impossible. They think that it burned up in the atmosphere, but that still feels impossible. But yeah, that's Tunguska.
It took us 2 hours. It took us like 2.5 hours to
be fair, we ate in the middle of it.
Yeah, but we were also fucked up and have missing footage of...
Not a whole lot.
Not what?
Not a whole lot. Yeah, that was odd hour.
That was odd hour. That fucking rocked. I would love to
Yo,
come back for
dudes
another.
rock.
Dudes
Bitch.
rock. Dudes fucking rock. Oh my god. Like,
Plug your shit. Like your Twitter and everything.
you can follow me on, at PEEBEE Biggins. BIGGINS. At PP Biggins.
On Twitter.
On Twitter. Going to have a podcast coming out soon. Thinking about putting my novel chapters on Patreon. I will update that if this podcast comes out and I have the update for Isaiah.
I am at Hey Nancy Boy on Twitter and at OOPierre on Tumblr. And you can also pledge to me on Patreon at Isaiah Ephraim. I post the podcast about a week early on Patreon, so if you want to hear everything early, definitely
get your money up so you can go on this Patreon.
Yeah, fucking give me $5 and I'll give you free access to everything. Fuck. Do it. Oh my god. What the fuck was this?